this weekend, right? It's a little bit windy outside, but it's not it's not gonna be so windy in Indianapolis this weekend. We've got no Indiana football tomorrow or tonight, although we do find out who IU is going to play in the Rose Bowl tonight as Alabama travels to Oklahoma to play that game. So that's kind of the play-in game to see who's going to play in the Rose Bowl against IU. IU, by the way, Bryant, Haines, and Mike Shanahan getting paid, getting a lot of cash. Highest paid assistant coaches in Indiana athletics history, and it's not even close. We're going to talk about the Colts. What's happened to the Colts? They went from 7-1 to 8-6. That means that they are 1-5 over their last 6 games. What exactly happened? We don't know why, but the running game has gone in the tank. We don't know why, but the passing game has gone in the tank. We don't know why, but the turnovers that opponents have generated have tripled the turnovers that the Colts generated during that 7-1 start. There's a lot going on with the Indianapolis Colts, and we're not sure why, but we know what, and I'm going to share what with you. We're going to talk about Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua, we keep talking about him because he has had one of the strangest weeks of all time, and last night it got even stranger as he had 12 catches for 225 in a loss in overtime to the Seahawks. Seahawks went for the win with a 2-point conversion in OT. They convert. The Rams lose, and Puka Nacua, the game of a lifetime after the week of a lifetime, all for naught. Pacers, they lose to the Knicks by 114-113. Brunson hit a dagger 3 with 5.6 seconds left, and then Jay Huff turned it over on an inbounds pass. You know what? When you start losing, it's really, really hard to stop. You start believing that you're going to lose. In the playoffs last year, the Pacers believed they were going to win every game. And sometimes with no rationale that made any kind of sense whatsoever. And they continued to win games. This year, that's not happening. We'll talk about that too. This is Breakfast with Kent for Friday, December 19th, 2025. Brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. Dr. Mike O'Neill, the best dentist I've ever gone to. Best dentist I ever will go to. Only dentist I'm going to go to. Something happens to Dr. Mike O'Neill, my teeth are going to fall out of my head. That's how good a dentist I'm sure that he is and sure that he will be for you. Give him a call, 317-849-2933. You got a hole in your mouth? He's got a hole in his schedule. Give him a call, ask for Julie. All right. Make sure and become a member. See that book? I wrote that book. You can get a copy of that book. Become a member at the all-meal deal level. We've also got a Saturday Coffee with Kent, which is for members only. It's very, very interactive, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, to tell you the truth. An all-meal deal member, a Breakfast Buddy member, all are welcome for the Saturday morning Coffee with Kent. So become a member today. And you know what? You got to become a subscriber. We're going to give away a Jeff Saturday autographed jersey on Monday afternoon. You've got to be a subscriber to enter, and you have to use the phrase that pays as your entry. All right, your subscription makes you eligible. The comment provides an entry. The phrase that pays today is Rivers Run Deep. There you go. Rivers Run Deep. Can you believe I make those up off the top of my head? I know it's astounding. They're all so very clever. So do that, enter, and become a subscriber, and smash the like button. And if you want to make a donation, no big whoop, but please include a comment or a question that elevates the level of discourse on the channel. Let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts and what in the world has happened to the Indianapolis Colts. We've got 3 days until the Colts and the 49ers, right? No Colts on Sunday. I'm not a fan of that. I like Sunday at 1 o'clock. That's what I like. I know everybody likes a primetime game because they feel like, hey, you know what? It displays the city in all its glory, and people can get excited about some primetime nationally televised thing. I don't care about any of that. I care only about my own inconvenience. Randy says these people that say the Pacers shouldn't tank are the same people that say, I don't know why the Pacers never win a championship. You can't tank. Nobody's gonna try to lose. Nobody. Rick Carlisle's not going to try to lose. That's what I think tanking is. Like this season's lost. There's no question about that. Pacers are 15 under 500. They got no chance to get back to 500. If they get into a play-in situation in the playoffs, that would be a shame because they can't win in the playoffs without Tyrese Halliburton. So, you know what? We can root for them to lose, but the Pacers are never going to try to lose. There's a nuanced difference between those two things. All right, Indiana Knights uniforms, those are going to be deployed this week. They got the black helmets rolling and everything. They got them in the locker room. Yesterday I asked Tanner Bordolini about the helmets, a completely stupid, ridiculous question. I said, any difference in the helmets? Because they're different helmets. It's not like they just change out the shell. Like difference in the fit or anything? He goes, no. I said, oh, all right. They work the same? Yeah. We were waiting for Phillip Rivers. What are you going to do? I'm talking to Tanner Bordolini. Something went wrong when the Colts played the Steelers. Something went awry. Either a defensive scheme was unveiled that the Colts have not been able to answer or something. But here is the result of what has gone wrong. Not what has gone wrong, but the result of what has gone wrong. In the first 8 games, the Colts, they ran for 120 or more yards 6 times. That's 75% of those games. In the 6 games since, in which the Colts are 1-5, the Colts have run for 120 or more yards 1 time, the exception being the 323-yard total against the Falcons. So it's kind of clear. You run for 120 or better, you win. You run for 120 or 119 or worse, you lose. That's what's happened to this team. The 323, what an anomaly that was, right? In the first 9 games in which the Colts were 7-2, the Colts threw for 200 or more yards every single game. In the 5 games since, in which they're 1-4, they have thrown for 200 yards exactly 0 times. They have not thrown for 200 yards. And they're 1-5. You combine those two things, not running for 120 or more and throwing for under 200, you cannot win if you're the Colts. You have got to get that offense on its wheels. I know they could have won that game in Seattle, and the defense late kind of didn't get that done, right? They didn't hold the Seahawks without a timeout to the number of yards that it would have made a field goal improbable or impossible. They hit the 56-yarder, and they win 18-16. In the first 8 games, the Colts turned it over 4 times. In the following 6, they've turned it over 12 times. That tells you a little bit of something. This is a calamity driven by those 3 metrics. Now, what's causing those 3 metrics to shrink in the level that they did yards-wise and explode at the level they have in turnovers? Man, you got the answer to that question. You can earn a lot of money over on West 56th Street right now. Toby says if you can throw or run the ball, you can't move the ball down the field and score TDs. If you can't, you must be able to throw and run, or throw or run. If you cannot do either, you're going to have a tough time. And the Colts are having a really, really tough time. The Seahawks game was the first that the Colts defense failed to force a turnover. If they had forced 1 turnover, 1, I think they win that game. How about Indiana offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan? He gets another bump. We think that Cignetti's getting bump after bump after bump. No. He is, but he's bringing his coordinators along with him. He's got a vat of cash that he can throw at his assistant coaches, and throwing at his assistant coaches, he is doing. Bryant Haines, the defensive coordinator, is making $3 million a year, or will make $3 million a year, as the defensive coordinator for the Indiana Hoosiers. I never thought we'd have a head coach making $3 million a year, to tell you the truth. Charles says, is Bob Bostad next for IU football extension, Kent? Something to be said that Haines and Shanahan were with Cignetti as low-level coaches at IUP making $6,000 to $8,000. That's exactly right. And now they're making bank. You know what? It's timing is everything in a coach's world, right? You get the right job at the right time, you are going to get wealthy. If you don't, you're going to have a tough time eating. That's just the way it is. It is a crazy business to get into. But Mike Shanahan, last year, he got a bump that took him to $1.15 million a year. This year, it's another bump. I think Bostad's getting paid. I think Kuntz is getting paid. I think all those guys are getting more money, but not to the level the coordinators are, not making the headlines that the coordinator cash is, because now their compensation package has reached 7 figures per annum, and that's a big number. First round of the college football playoffs tonight. They start tonight. Bama at Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma wins this game. I hope that Bama wins this game. I think that Oklahoma is going to win this game. And the only reason that I hope that Bama wins this game is it's going to be a hell of a lot more fun kicking their ass in the Rose Bowl than it would be Oklahoma. I got friends in Oklahoma. Then Saturday, you got 3 games. The first one's a good one. The last 2 are ridiculous. Why this happens, I know why it happens, and we're going to talk about why it happens, but it's absurd. This committee has out-clevered itself, and you can't out-clever yourself if you're going to run stuff. Keep it simple, stupid. Give us good games, and we'll watch them. What the College Football Playoff Committee has done is given us 2 good games and 2 absolute stinkers. You've got Bama and OU, which we discussed. We'll see what happens in that contest. Then you've got, that's the 8-9 game. Then you've got Miami at A&M. That's the 10-7 game. That's a good game. By the way, OU is a 1.5-point favorite. A&M's a 3.5-point favorite. That's at noon tomorrow, the Miami at AM game. Then, Saturday afternoon at 3:30, you got number 11 Tulane at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is favored by 17.5. Why isn't that Notre Dame? Wouldn't you rather see Ole Miss play Notre Dame? I'll answer for you. Yes, you would. And then you've got JMU, James Madison, where Kurt Cignetti came from a couple of years ago, at Oregon. That game's at 7:30 on Saturday. Oregon's a 21-point favorite in that contest. Why not Texas and Notre Dame? Fear of an antitrust suit with the lower level conferences? Maybe. I don't know. But I think that a lot of it has to do with providing an advantage, a decided advantage for the 5 and 6 seed. They want the 5 and 6 seed to advance. And so they're putting up a couple of cupcakes for them. I mean, these are basically buy-in games, for God's sake. These are the kind of games that you would expect to see in early September. This is like Indiana playing against Old Dominion. Old Dominion's a 10-win team. Kennesaw State is either a 10-win team or they're going to be a 10-win team after their bowl. Indiana played a tough schedule, tough non-conference schedule. We thought it was Cupcake City with OD and with Kennesaw State, KS. I would say KS, but those are my initials too, and I don't want to confuse anyone. Puka Nacua. What a weird 72 hours. He goes on a podcast, criticizes officials, saying that they make bad calls on purpose to try to get on TV, and then makes an anti-Semitic gesture on that same podcast, and then his brother gets arrested for stealing a Beamer that belongs to a Los Angeles Laker. That's a bad week. Last night, 12 catches for 2 1/4. He went 2 1/4 last night, 2 touchdowns, and the Rams lost that game 38-37 as the Seahawks went for 2 in overtime, didn't want the tie. All you're going to get is a tie or a loss. So they went, it was all or nothing. Put their chips in the middle of the table. Darnold hit the pass to Smith and Jigba, and off you go. Seahawks win. That's 2 straight walk-off wins for the Seahawks. Puka Nacua, he has really, I mean, this is, you talk about a roller coaster, you're going to get whiplash from your roller coaster. Pacers, Knicks last night. Knicks winners, 114-113. Jalen Brunson with a 3 with 5.6 seconds left. Jay Huff fouls with a turnover. So the Pacers lose, which we hate to see, but we love to see. That's where we are in this season. They're 6-21. They got a game tomorrow night in New Orleans against the Pelicans. which, again, we hope they lose, but we want to see them win. Does that make any sense? It absolutely does not. Let's celebrate some birthdays. Birthdays always make sense. Who's celebrating a birthday on December 19th? Matthew Sosi celebrating a birthday. The great Jeff Bruce. Happy birthday. The great Lisa Wynn. The great Blaze Loop. Unbelievable. Talk about a roller coaster life. Blaze Loop running marathons, having challenges. Blaze, one of the funniest people in the history of the world. And my goodness, I could tell Blaze Loop stories forever. He's the guy who really turned me on to the Who, and thanks for doing that. We got a Who poster right there. We got Who knickknacks all over the place. And those, in large part, due to the great Blaze Loop. Mike Goodpaster, celebrating a birthday. The great Glenn Klein, former owner of Camp Menominee up in Eagle River, Wisconsin. The Northwoods, an outstanding camp director and camp owner. Freddie Coleman, celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday to Freddie. Chris Jasper, and the great Paul Mills, an alum of Lake Hills Elementary School in Spring Lake Township, I think it is, or maybe Ferrysburg, Michigan. If today's your birthday, you celebrate like hell. If it's not your birthday, you celebrate somebody else. That's best done with an honest and specific compliment. Lift each other up. Don't pull each other down. Be good to each other. And it's Friday. I'm not going to fall over that stool again. I've got a bruise on the inside of my right thigh from falling over that thing. I'm so sad, really, because I think it was an act of great athletic heroism that I fell down the way I did, I think it was on Monday, and lived to tell the tale. I tried to it was Tuesday. I had to get the bells, and I fell back. I tried to get back on the stool real quick because the countdown was on it. I had to get back and look like I knew what I was doing. So I came back, I did it too quick, and I fell right back there. How sad is that? We're going to windmill all morning long because it's Friday. This is how you do it. That's the windmill, invented by the great Scott Rocker-Meddy, Mishawaka High School's own. I believe he went to Mishawaka High School, and is living the life, man. Scott Rocker-Meddy is getting it done. And why? Because he invented the windmill. That's why. Later today, we will hear from DeForest Buckner, Jonathan Taylor. You'll hear from Phillip Rivers, too.